and the leap start. So I'm looking at all of these because I remember they used to have like the leap pad stuff that had like books and stuff, the leap readers. Also, have a look at these like little tiny cell phones.
30 years later.
I think that's a remote. These tiny cell phones are probably what she's gonna have before she ever has.
Until she's 16, she's gonna have that little toy phone, y'all.
And I loved it. It was literally my favorite. Mine was blue.
How'd you use that if you couldn't get out the wheelchair?
It's so much fun to run yourself around and around and around and around and around. It is so much fun. I loved it.
You giving yourself what?
Something like this as a kid. Look how cute this is. That is adorable.
If it's Gypsy approved, I don't want it.
They have the house, they have Fairyland, and they have a fire station. That's so cute.
A fire station? Oh, like the way you wanted to do arson to your mom's house? That was like one of your plans at one point?
Oh,
but you couldn't go through with it?
That I was talking about. I was telling
That's crazy, Gypsy, because you don't clean. Ken said that.
See, it has 3+. So around 3 years old, 3+. She'd start helping with chores, especially cleaning her room. I'm also looking at this. This is cute. This is Fisher Price. This is 12 to 36 months, and it is a tablet.
A tablet? No, it's a toy, girl. That's not a tablet.
Look at this cute little smartphone by Fisher Price. That is cute. So I'm kind of just looking at all of these toys, and I'm looking at great alternatives because we don't want to give her a tablet.
Because I don't want her to Google me and find out I'm Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
What is available on the market for parents?
I don't want her to see the autopsy photos. Or for her to realize the tattoo I got was a trophy tattoo.
Creativity on their own, because that is what we would like for her.
Gypsy Rose says she won't give her daughter an iPad because she wants her to foster imagination. She's trying to mom shame other moms for giving their kids iPads. But let's not forget that imagination is what got her into this mess in the first place. She imagined she was a Disney villain, literally called herself Demona, a winged, vengeful character from Gargoyle. That wasn't a phase. That was a full-blown alter ego she used to plan her mom's murder. Let's talk about what imagination looked like for her. Fan fiction, fantasy roleplay, cosplay gone dark, and an entire online double life. That's not creative expression. That's cosplay gone dangerous. Now she's talking about parenting like she's a Montessori expert. But baby, this ain't gentle parenting. This is a PR makeover. Rebranding isn't redemption. Tablets aren't the enemy. Some kids use iPads to learn languages, build businesses, and code their way through Ivy League schools. What matters is how you parent, not just what you restrict. The real irony about this situation is she had access to everything. Her mom didn't restrict her life. This girl was at all sorts of events, had a shed doing wild things in it. Now she wants to restrict her daughter and call it imagination. That's not called healing. That's called projection. Fostering imagination, sure, but also fostering therapy, fostering accountability, fostering reality. Because if your imagination once helped you plan a murder, maybe you need to rethink how you call yourself a nurturer. And let's be real, Gypsy. The real reason you don't want your daughter to have an iPad isn't about imagination. It's because you don't want her to Google search you and find out who you really are. You can't control the internet like you could control your mom. You can try to control your child's world, her knowledge, and her questions, but real parenting isn't about control. It's about guiding. And ma'am, you might want to guide her with the truth before TikTok does or the world does. Let's be real, Gypsy. Don't play yourself. You know what I also find very funny is the fact that she hasn't been a parent for very long and she doesn't have a child over 2. So for her to say what she would and wouldn't do, she sounds like those parents at the pool when your kid starts like screaming or, flicking the water. And they're like, oh, I would never let my child do that if I had kids. And then you see them 5 years later with kids at the pool, like throwing a temper tantrum. And you be like, remember when. Never mind. Day 21 of the Diddy trial, and bestie, things are getting wild. The judge just denied any mistrial. The juror just got kicked out yesterday, and Jane's testimony is starting to unravel in front of the jury. Things are shifting fast, and here's exactly what went down. I just want to preface this by saying I feel like Jane is not making the prosecution look good, but y'all tell me what you think in the comments down below. Now, Judge Arun officially rejected Diddy's latest mistrial motion, saying that there's no proof that the jury was unfairly influenced. Meanwhile, the defense is pushing back, calling it a racial target issue, and the judge said he'll decide later this week, okay? The jury count still remains 12, but an alternate has already been deployed. No trial stall for this trial, okay? Now, Jane is on day 5 under cross-examination by the defense. And y'all, the goal? They portrayed her as a manipulative participant, not a victim that was coerced. In one chilling moment, Jane shot back and said, "How much does my body cost?" After they asked her about the price of a designer bag. Okay. Now, she said she stayed because she was emotionally and financially trapped. I also want to state that Diddy is still paying her rent, okay? Now, the defense dug up the freak-offs. They talked about how she planned it, she brought in text messages, financial gifts, and challenged her credibility. Jane testified about being beaten and forced into X marathons with escorts. Both physical violence and coercion remains the center of this prosecution's case. She said Diddy made her hide injuries, take drugs, and continue hotel nights, sometimes once a week. Y'all, I don't know. I feel like she is the one victim that I'm like on. It's tricky. She reveals she researched cuck fetish to understand his demands, showing how deeply controlled and manipulated she felt. Testimonies also included remarks about how Diddy loved Dateline and used role play to show his assertive dominance. The fact that the man liked Dateline, like, dude, you cosplaying the people from Dateline that go to jail? Jane sobbed recounting how this all felt. And she said she felt like a living puppet during the freak-offs. The jurors watched quietly, but insiders say attention intensified as her emotional breakdown unfolded again. Now, the defense is trying to normalize the lifestyle of Diddy's choice, but the judge made it clear this is still valid evidence. Jury now faced 2 contrasting stories: coercion with violence and sanction to sexual exchange. If they buy it, consequences could be devastating for Diddy. Day 21 delivered. Mistrial denied. Jurors on the bench now. A new juror, okay? Jane's credibility under fire, but her trauma testimony still on record. And the jury, they've got full permission to see it all, and it's explosive. We'll be back when the judge rules on the juror. Stay seated and alert, because this trial is far from over. Let me tell y'all what we're not going to do in 2025. What we're not going to do is pretend to be a part of a culture for content and then disappear when the culture is under attack. Culture isn't a costume. Stand up or sit down. Now, y'all know there's a content creator out here who has built his entire platform on speaking Spanish and going to Latino restaurants and getting praise for embracing the culture. People loved him. He got a lot of followers, sponsorships, and praise, and a whole lot of friendly invites. But this isn't an honorable Latino storyline. Okay? Now that Latino communities are being hit with ICE raids, families are being torn apart, and xenophobia is happening out loud, silence, not a word, not a peep. Culture is not a costume. It is not for your entertainment. It is not your money grab. Cosplaying a culture for your convenience and disappearing during a struggle, that's not support, that's exploitation. That's not representation. That's modern day colonizer energy. You're not a colleague. You're a colonizer, period. You benefit from the culture but stay silent during the pain? Boy, bye. If you love a culture, then show up when it counts. Otherwise, step aside. We're not going to applaud performance allies. It's 2025. Do better or get dragged with love. Let's be real. We should have all known when you said that the kids at school was calling you La Negra. We should have known then. I don't know why it didn't click to me then. When Kendrick Lamar said they not like us, he was talking about folks like you.